Hey everyone, it's Mark. Welcome back to part 14. We're going to start off this video getting the steering box put back together. I remembered yesterday that I couldn't put this back together until I got the coating for it. And I've been using KBS products and I'm real happy with them. But my last can does what they do. So I wasn't going to use that. I thought, okay, well, I'll order some more. It'll be here this week. And, you know, I can do this maybe next weekend, film this video. Well, I ordered them Friday afternoon, and they were here the next morning before noon. I don't know how they did it. I didn't pay for extra shipping, but here it is. And this time, so I don't have this problem again, I got some of this that you spray in the can before you close it to preserve the paint. I think it's the same thing a lot of people do when they have a MIG welder and they just spray some of the welding gas in there. I don't have gas on my welder. I just use flux core, so it's the next best thing. It's 10 bucks, and if it saves a 40-something can of paint, it's worth it. So I've cheated. I've already started working on that. What you're going to see in the next time lapse, first I grind off a little nub that's on the original casting. I assume it's just because when you're making a million steering boxes, you don't really care if there's ugly little nubs on there. So I ground that off. I did the first two steps that KBS recommends, which is to use their degreaser, rinse it off well, then use their rust blast, rinse that off well, dry it off. That's what you're about to see right now. Alright, everything's prepped and ready to go. I'm going to apply the Rustseal to these parts, and the big part is still clamped up over that way. So I think my downfall the last time was two things. First, getting paint in the rim, which caused the lid to stick, and secondly, not having the paint saver. So I'm going to try to do this right this time. I got an idea, I'm going to try it. We'll see if it works. This might seem like a dumb idea, but I guess I've had dumber ideas. Okay, the rim is now protected. And this is how I transferred it before, and it's kind of messy, but it worked. welcome back. The paint has cured on this. I did 2 coats last night. Now it's time for the fun part, peeling off the tape. So I really love this KBS paint. It goes on really nice. It's really tough. I mean, a few things that I've painted with this, I've, dropped on the floor or whatever, and it seems indestructible. Obviously, I haven't tested it like they claim it's good for, which is, for hours and hours of salt spray and all that. But in my testing, stuff's been pretty awesome. And pro tip, if you need to plug holes, have some rubber stoppers. That's all I use to just pop it in there, and then it keeps the threads clean. Alright, so the first step in reassembling this is going to be to put in this race. This race, it's kind of funny, is number 6. I'll put the page from the bearing catalog up, and you see this whole row of really long part numbers, and then you get to this one and it's 6. Okay, I think we're home. Alright, this one seemed like it'd be easier to do on the press. Now you get to see how durable this paint is. Look at the paint. Slightly scuffed. Not too bad. Alright, that needs to go a little farther. So if you ever wondered how these worked, maybe seen pictures and tried to figure out in your head how does that all go together and wondered, it's real easy to show you right now when this isn't full of grease. Just picture that this is hooked to the arm that moves the, tie rods and everything. So that's all there is to it. Now you know. The next thing I need to do is clean this part up and press the needle bearing in here. Then there's also a needle bearing that goes in here. And I feel like pretty soon I'm going to run up against a wall because I wanted to do some black oxide coating on some of the fasteners and hardware, including this lock ring that goes right here. So without some of that stuff being finished, I can't really put it on. So I'm going to get done what I can here, and it's probably going to have to pick up next week when my next pile of things I ordered shows up. So here are my new bearings. Now if you start asking people what kind of grease to use, everybody's going to have a different answer, and everybody's going to say everybody else is wrong. But what I'm using is some 3% moly. The only way I arrived at this was that it was the best I could get at my local auto parts store. It was not a result of hours of obsessive research or anything. Alright, that looks like a huge mess, but that's about all I'm going to get done tonight, because I need to order some stuff, and now I'm out of grease. We'll see you in the next clip. Hey, welcome back. It's been another week. I have gotten a lot of stuff in the mail. I have got my parts blackened. I have got a new bearing for the end of the steering column. somewhere I have the old one, but I haven't been able to find it, so I figured I'd buy it, and now I'll find the old one. I have more grease for the steering box. I have started stripping down some paint off the steering column and some of the other steering bits. So let me turn you around and show you what I've got done. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the parts that I blackened, and you see them all laid out here, not this. This is the bearing for the end of the steering column. So I'm not going to go into the blackening process too much here. I'm going to do a separate video on that because it's really cool. This video is already getting too long. I don't need a sidebar that's going to take a half hour. This is the product I used, and you can go on their website and get the kit, which includes 4 bottles of stuff. We got like the cleaner, the prep, the finish, all of that, and it's really reasonable. I mean, I don't want to throw out prices because their prices are subject to change, but I'm cheap as hell, and this was a good deal. And you can see how much I used. Okay, you can't see how much I used because there's a label. There we go. Hardly any. And already done all these parts, plus played around a little bit. Here's just like a little socket adapter for an impact driver. It was all rusty. I just grabbed it out of the drawer because I was just looking for something and polished it up, blackened it, and sealed it, and now it looks like a brand new part. So yeah, cool stuff. I'm not going to go on and on about it, but that is done, so I can get back to the steering column. I don't think there's anything else I really want to talk about over here, so let's go to time lapse and let's get the steering box put back together. Back. It is another day. So I kind of cut that off yesterday. You just saw the time lapse of putting the steering gear back together, and I kind of had to stop because I realized I need the steering wheel to adjust this, and the steering wheel I had sitting off to the side covered in paint stripper. So I had to finish that, and as you can see, the steering wheel's not finished being stripped. There's still some areas I have to go back over, but at least it's not gooey and dripping with paint falling off. So at least to the point now where I can get this, I think, set up. I mean, worst case scenario, I get it on the car, something's not right, I can adjust it again. It's obviously made to be adjusted in the car too. But I just like to kind of get it set up as close as I can so I can kind of check that box on my mind off that that part is done. All right, so according to the manual, to set this, you're supposed to use a specific GM tool that is just basically a scale. And I don't have one of those, obviously. And I was trying to think, what can I use? And I'd seen online a lot of people just do it just by feel and just kind of guess, like, oh, that seems like a good amount. But I was like, if I can get more exact, I'd like to. And then I remembered I had this. This is the, I'm not sure how you say it, chatillon? Chatillon? I have no idea.
Chatillon.
This is used for measuring pressure in either direction. And it even has this cool feature where it can remember the highest. These are really expensive new. They're not really worth much on the secondary market, especially one like this that I got in a lot of stuff at an auction, and it has no attachments. All I got is this in the case. I sort of made a little attachment for it. Luckily this is 1032 thread, so I just have a union and a screw and a little piece of copper wire. And this measures in pounds of force, and the manual says I need to be aiming for something in the range of under a pound. So this isn't very precise, but I don't think I need to be that precise. This is going to be better than guessing. Okay, so as someone who occasionally has to write technical type documents at work, this bothers me, but it says you just hook it on this part of the steering wheel. It doesn't tell you how much distance this is, and a lot of steering wheels, that's different distances. And as you move out, obviously, the force to turn this is going to be smaller, and as you move in, it's going to be greater. So I'm just guessing that all the steering wheels from 1949 to 53 are all the same. So I'm planning on just hooking it right onto the edge, just like they did there. But it would be nice if they had an actual measurement so far out from the center line, because I was thinking without the steering wheel, I could just clamp on vice grips, and that's almost the same length, but it doesn't say. So anyway, whatever. Okay, so when it's upside down, I turn that to 0, and right now it's taking about 1 pound of force to turn this. And according to the manual, it should be between 3/8 and 5/8 pounds, which is weird. I would have worded that 6 to 10 ounces, but okay. And it said that's the pressure to keep it moving, because once, you know, to break that first moment of friction, it's going to be a little bit greater than to sustain it. But that really looks like 1 full pound to keep it sustained. So I'm going to back this off a little. And that's at about 0.6 pounds. Why couldn't this thing be in ounces? I mean, that is between 3/8 and 5/8. I suppose the ideal place to be would be half, and that's basically where we are. So I'm gonna say that's good. Tighten up that lock screw. Yep. So then the next step, I need to start preloading whatever that piece is called. All right, and once I start putting pressure on that part, it looks like it should be between 7/8 and 1 7/8. So I'm gonna shoot for 1.5 or something. Okay, I haven't added anything yet. Now this feels pretty good, but there is kind of a high spot here. And it sounds like that is kind of normal, and you want to try to eliminate that as much as you can. Okay, 2.5, we're almost there. I'm gonna say that's good. All right, so I guess that's gonna be it for this video. It spanned a few weeks. The garage got gradually messier as the weeks went on. I'm gonna get this video up and start cleaning this garage. Between now and the next video, there's gonna be a lot of boring stuff that isn't gonna make it in the video. Just different metal pieces that need to just be stripped and painted, or stripped and blackened, or primed, or I don't even know, but there's stuff everywhere and none of it's very exciting to watch the work. So we'll just cut it off here and we'll be back when I have something else to show you. See you in the next video.